Welcome to the Millennial Network Podcast. Now your host, Coach Danny Renee.
What's up, y'all? This is Coach Danny Renee, and this is the Millennial Network Podcast. Right here, we have Zipporah Monique. So I want y'all to know we this is a special guest because this girl, I've been seeing this girl kill it on social media for years, and that's the power of networking. Because I messaged her and was like, Zipporah, can you please get on the podcast? And then here we are today. So Zipporah, introduce yourself.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And you're right. We've been following each other. So just for us to have this conversation, y'all in for a treat. Okay. So I am Zipporah Monique. I am an emotional intelligence strategist. I teach successful business women how to just grab a hold of their emotion, balance their masculine and feminine energy while still in business, and how to increase their revenue as well as their status.
Okay. Now, how does someone get into that?
Wow. This was a journey, y'all. It was such a journey. I actually started off blogging. I really just wanted to help people in their mindsets, and a lot of people were just downtrodden, they were stressed out, they were overwhelmed, much less than how people are today, but it just was at an alarming rate. So I just wanted to help people. So I started vlogging on YouTube. Then I turned my blog and my YouTubing into a business. So when I turned it into a business, then I started teaching business strategy to women. And what I found, that there were so many broken women building broken businesses. And I was like, no, there's got to be a disconnect here, because every single woman I would talk to, it would be trauma issues. There would be issues with feeling their worth. It will be issues with their imposter syndrome. It will be issues with their self-awareness. And while it sounds like those things aren't necessarily connected to business, but who you are in your personal and who you are in your business, especially as an entrepreneur, it goes hand in hand, right? Because you got to show up, right? Those emotions tell you, sit back down, girl. We don't want to do that. But you have to actually show up and be resilient and try those failures and try and do all of those things. So that's when I started teaching about confidence and success systems. And that kind of rolled into the term emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. I love that, because one of my mentors, and I have seen it within my own journey, and it's funny because I was talking to my sister-in-law yesterday, and she was just like, man, I just cannot wait for that big aha moment, everything that you've been working up to. And obviously we was talking about kids and family and all of that, but you talk about emotional intelligence and trauma, and I think I read a little bit that it kind of came from your story a little bit. So do you feel like you were living that life at one point, you experienced trauma, and then did you overcome the trauma? What is your story to start blogging?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked that question, because yes, child, it's always some trauma, right? It's always some trauma. It's always that villain story that you have to overcome to get on top. I actually grew up in a single parent home. I had no emotional training. I was emotionally volatile. I had a temper. I got into fights. I talked back. I was just this rebel with no cause. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't live in a household full of love, so I was love thirsty. So as when you're love thirsty, you're gonna go outside for validation, and of course you can't get validation from outside.
Yeah.
So that landed me in a 7-year domestic violence abuse relationship.
Wow.
And it was I was okay with being there. It was like, this is all I can get. That was how low my worth was. I just felt like, this is all the love that I can get. This is how he showed me his love. There was no love template growing up. So this is what love feels like. The roller coaster, the highs and the lows, the really really goods and the really really bads. So there was a point where I was like, no. I don't know. I think I just woke up one day and I just got tired. You know, that feeling of, I'm just tired. I'm sick of this. I can no longer live like this. I know for a fact my life ain't supposed to be under nobody's fist or under nobody's demeaning language. So I was like, okay, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? So I I actually moved back to my mom's house in Georgia. I was actually living in Virginia at the
And
time,
are you from Georgia
and I moved.
originally?
I'm actually from New York,
Okay.
but I grew up in Georgia.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. So I came back to my mom's house in Georgia. Didn't even tell the guy, and I just started picking my life back up.
Mm.
I just started picking it up. I'm like, okay, I need to love on you, Zipporah. I need to make sure that you're good. I need to make sure that we don't ever get ourselves in that situation again. I need to make sure that you smile every day, that you're affirming yourself every day, that you are believing in yourself for the dreams that the little girl, that little 6 year old, she got big dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and you're letting her down right now.
Wow.
Like, let's figure it out. So that's kind of what happened. I went through my own journey of just forgiving myself, forgiving the person who I was to even allow the 7 year abusive relationship, the person who I was to even allow me to go through those things in my teenage years. And me looking back on it, it really is me changing that generational patterns that happened in my mom's life and in my grandmother's life and in my great grandmother's life. So just healing all of that, doing the boundary work, doing the shadow work, doing the therapy work, all of those
Wow.
things, that just got me to wanting to tell more people about it. Like, I'm like, this is the whole drug out here, y'all. I need to tell more people about
The
it.
whole
And I
drug.
was literally, right. I was on fire trying to tell people about it. And that's kind of what brought me to blogging. I think my first tagline was, don't just be, what is it? You're not living, you should be, wait, oh my God, I probably should have this. What is it? It was, don't just live. I'm gonna get it. I'm
You
gonna just
said,
get it together.
mm-mm.
I'm gonna get it together. But it was just basically about living, right? So many people, we just walk through this earth just tolerating life, right? Not really doing anything, living cautiously, living under other people's opinions and emotions and choices for us. But it's like, are you really living, right?
Right.
Between their birthday and between your death date, there's a dash. What does that dash mean?
Wow.
What's going to be in your, who's going to talk in your eulogy? Like, what are they going to say?
Mm.
So I think that means the most impact. It's not what people think about you. It's about what you actually did while you had the time to be here.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what started me.
I mean, that's a big wow story. So you 7 years, seven
7 years.
years of abuse,
Yeah.
and so I've been watching Married at First Sight lately, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's Netflix fault because I think they came out with Love Is Blind. I was like, I want to know more about these reality shows. Cause I was always so against it because, like I told you
Yeah.
earlier, I have my bachelor's is in film and video. So anyway, neither here or there. That just got me into scripted TV, and I was talking to my friend. She was like, "Yeah, just so many people are like desperate for love," and I'm just I'm going through my own journey, and I'm just like, why do people stay in these situations where they're abused? So my question is to you, 7 years, like why 7 years? Like were you making excuses for the bad and like praising the good? Like why 7 years?
I was gonna say, you got time? So I think that there's so many different things. Even after I got out of that relationship, I actually went back and mentored women that were in battered women shelters, and going through domestic violence as well. Um, it's so many things. First of all, coming from a place of low worth, right? A place of like, I'm just gonna get like the crumbs are okay for me, right? I don't really matter. My place in the world doesn't matter. You're not owning that light inside of yourself, or even how society or even Southern society always share with the women. Okay, you ain't nothing until you get married. Okay, you ain't nothing but your ability to cook. You ain't nothing but your ability to make babies. You like hearing all of these different things. You attach yourself to this stigma, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna find my worth in a marriage. And at this point, it was the low worth, and not only staying, it's the emotional abuse that gets in your head, right? You are only as big as your mindset. You can only grow as big as your environment. So if your environment every single day is, ain't nobody gonna love you like you love me, Like diminishing everything that you do, diminishing how you look, diminishing the things that you do, diminishing how you cook, like diminishing just all of these different things. It really minimizes yourself, right? And this person is essentially supposed to be the person that sees you at your core. So if this person doesn't appreciate me at my core and is literally telling me every single day that I'm not going to find any love outside of this person, at a point you believe it. At
Yeah.
a point you internalize that, especially in domestic violence situations. They subtract you from your friends, they subtract you from your environment, they take
Mm.
you out of that, so there's nothing to latch onto, right? They cause strife in your family, they cause strife in your friends, so then you're literally alone, and he's the only anchor, or they're the only anchor that you have to get any life from. And they give you this life, like I said, there was great times as well, right? There's this really really
Yeah.
good time, and then there's really really bad time. Society says, or studies have shown, that when we're in relationships and it just kind of go here, kind of even keel, like, okay, this is good, we ain't got no fights, we can we can effectively communicate. It doesn't bring rise to our emotions, right? It doesn't stir our emotions. And sometimes stirring our emotions, or the cliche saying, struggle gets you closer.
Yeah.
Nothing, we're not struggling. So we're just even keel. But if you got these really really high highs, these really really lows, that emotional roller coaster, it feels like you are connected to this person.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, I really love this person because how much I sacrificed. I invested so much. I've had so many emotions about this person. I'm an emotional being, and I'm so emotionally attached to him. I love him. I swear to God, I love him. And that's not the case. You just been manipulated
Wow.
with your emotions to feel that way. Um, and I think that all of those things, and it could be like just some other situation for other ladies, but I feel like those are the things that keep you in there, right? Or promises, right?
Right.
Everybody loves promises forever. Everybody loves the promises of love. Like, oh man, so like selling salt to a slug. People are out there that can really sell people.
Yes.
And in that situation, they can give you promises, and then you're hanging on to the promises.
It's a
And
swindle,
growing up in a
right?
single parent, right? Exactly. And for me, growing up in a single parent home, my dad always promised to come see me. Always promised. Like, okay, okay, okay. So it was just innate for me to say, okay, promises really don't mean anything.
Mm.
Or I can hold on to promises, and I can always just have that hope. You're
For
addicted
one
to the
day.
hope.
One day it'll
Exactly.
change.
You addicted to the hope. No,
Wow.
it's not going to change, baby. No.
Addicted to the hope. Okay. So you mentioned
Yeah.
also, you said for generations. You say you grew up in a single parent home. So I'm assuming your mom took care of you, and then you mentioned your
Yep.
grandmother, and then her grandmother.
Hmm.
So generationally, what have you seen that has been a pattern through your family?
Absolutely. Through my family, not we didn't talk financial literacy, like a lack of financial literacy, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Talking about things that need to be talked about. Right, like the hard
The
conversations,
communication.
like, no,
Yeah.
we just gonna sweep that under the rug, and maybe she'll find out from the streets, like, like, can you tell me please? What else? Anger and bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
um uh just the pain of always being the strong black woman. I see
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh, I see that. Or the independence, right? I don't need no man, that type of thing. And having children at a wedlock,
Mm.
all of that ruffled together. So that's why I said, like, I'm fighting all of these things as I'm growing up, and realizing that this ain't really my battle to fight, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight it. I got to. I have to. Cause my next generation ain't gonna be like this.
Right.
It cannot be like this. We cannot continue from here. Um, so yeah, with all of those things, I am. It's beauty in what you learn from pain.
Mm-hmm.
So in their pain, I'm learning so much about myself, and not only learning how my mom was the parent that she was, or how my mom or my grandma was the grandma that she was, and things of that nature. You just learn a lot about things that aren't talked about,
Right.
which is eye opening for self awareness.
So as far as pain and then generations, do you feel like you mentioned like your dad always promising, but do you feel like you received any emotional abuse from like your mom growing up?
You know what? I don't even want to say emotional abuse. I want to say that it wasn't emotional abuse. It just was emotion. It was just lack
Okay,
of
lack of.
emotions. Period. So it wasn't about. But it just wasn't where I needed to be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or how Les Brown says we or TD Jakes, one of them. Don't get
And
me
one
wrong,
of
y'all.
them.
But they say that right, you are a gallon person and expecting a gallon at a pint people. It's literally that's what it was. Like if so my mom as a single parent, she has to not only work as a single parent, she has to come home, take care of 3 kids. She still have to keep the bills. She still have to make sure that holidays are cute, and that weighs on her. But for me, I just wanted like, can you give me a hug?
Mm-hmm.
Like can you come to my basketball game? Like can you can we have this mother daughter relationship? And I think that um that in turn makes you a people pleaser, right? It
Mm-hmm.
turns you to be a people pleaser, wanting validation, not thinking that your worth is good enough, or always trying to, oh, I have to do this for my worth. Oh, I have to make all A's for my worth. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
have to do this, or oh, I have to be in pageants and be pretty to do this and that. Like all of those different things, we're searching for our worth,
Yeah.
and it's just like, you ain't gotta search for it, baby girl. You've been it since you've been born. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I had to learn. So I wouldn't say it was emotionally abusive. She was a yeller though.
Mm-hmm. A
I'm not
yeller.
gonna lie. Yes. When I tell you, I don't think it was like until college or maybe even high school. I went over to a friend's house and their mom was not yelling at them. Like to just do simple things. And I was just like, you heard her? Like, and you gonna listen? Like,
Right.
I just always thought that like yelling was just a way to
It was normal
talk to
because that's what
people,
you grew
right?
up.
Like this is
Right.
right. And no, like the gentle parenting that we're learning now, the being gentle, the being, assertive with your words and knowing how to effectively communicate your feelings and so on and so forth. That's far grander than
Mm-hmm.
than yelling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. That
You
was the
know,
only part of the review.
I'm glad you shared that, and I wasn't even going to go this route because it's funny when it comes to this, like the internet world. You have to figure out when you want to be vulnerable, how, and then what's too much and what's not enough. And I asked that question because part of my journey and where I'm at now is I'm at a place where I'm ready to speak up, but I'm not. Like I've never been in an abusive relationship or anything, but I do have that disconnect with my mom. I feel like she did an amazing job with us, but I also feel like her pain caused us pain. I did have a mom that yelled, and I felt like there were moments that I don't even know if she's gonna hear this yet, but I do feel like there were moments that she was emotionally abusive. Even still to this day. And I'm to a point where I'm like, I had enough, but it's not easy because that's why I asked the question like, you we accept like, okay, they act this way because of something. So it's like, do
Mm-hmm.
you, some people, and then I've talked to friends because we were very open. My friends was like, I just accepted it, but then I'm just like, why do we have to accept abuse even as adults? But then the hard part is if it's either they have to be forced to change or they don't change, and then it turns around to where if you don't accept it, then now you're going without, which hurts as well. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of the journey I'm on right now is what am I willing to deal with? When am I ready to speak up and let these things be known? How do I speak up? And that's why I'm like, I can see how once, like, I've never been in the abusive relationship, but it's still technically I have, with parents. And then we'll
Absolutely.
be like, it's different. It's different. I mean, because it's your parents, and it's just like, why does that have to be the normal? You know? So,
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up. And you're right. We did not want to go this route, but I this is really the crux of what we talk about in my sessions with my clients. It's
mm-hmm.
really the like how do you forgive a parent? Right?
Yeah.
Not even forgive them for what they did in the past. Like forgive them what they did yesterday. What like they're still like this person who feel like they can control you, talk to you however and so on and so forth. And that's where the the boundaries come in,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's where you have to really figure out, okay, what's going on? Okay, what
Mm-hmm.
is going on? I know that. First of all, separating yourself. Part of boundaries is saying, "This is me. This is you. This is me. This is my emotions. Those are your emotions, right? Not my
Mm-hmm.
monkeys, not my circus."
Now my monkeys.
Essentially, right? So essentially, like that, I'm not. We don't negotiate with chaos, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand that calmness in ourselves. We have to find that peace in ourselves. That we are not going to negotiate with anything that's chaos. And for me, that means mom, that means daddy, that means anybody, because guess what? My peace is my peace. And
Yeah.
I can't be 100% if my peace isn't there. So with your point of like how do you speak up and things of that nature, is really making the boundaries within yourself,
Mm-hmm.
making the standards within yourself. I think I said to myself, like, I'm not going to let anybody yell at me. And I think that when I got older,
Mm.
you know, me, it was just a moment, okay, with mom Stoops, and it was just like, I can't, and I had to say to her, I cannot allow you to talk to me in that manner. So whenever we are able to calm down, then maybe we can come back to this simple boundary,
Mm.
right? But that's just literally saying, oh, nope, you have no more access to me, because that's not the standard that I hold for myself, or even relationships now. That's just a non-negotiable in the
Yeah.
relationships. If we have a disagreement and you go to 10, I don't think I probably, yeah, especially if we're dating, I'm not going to talk to you ever again, because
Mm-hmm.
you have no control of your emotions. So I think, so in that, you didn't have to be in an abusive relationship, but I hear so much from my clients is that there's always a mother-daughter divide.
Mm.
It's always a mother-daughter tension.
Always.
It's always that. And I don't want to say always as a, just like like a thing, but it just happens so
Mm-hmm.
much. And that's what I want to heal, is like bringing those feminine roles together, because essentially moms, especially single parent moms,
Yeah.
single household moms, they feel like they have to be a masculine, right? You hear
Mm-hmm.
them, I'm a mama and a daddy, and while yes, we still need that femininity. The
Yeah.
femininity is that nurturing, it's that caring, it's that love, right? The masculine is all the, okay, I gotta provide, right? I gotta
Mm-hmm.
grind, I gotta do all of those things, and those are two different roles. And while us as daughters, we need the nurturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're giving back to us the masculine. And I'm like,
Oh.
Mom, I don't need
Woo.
that right now. I don't need masculine right now. That's not what I
That's a
need. Especially not
bar.
right.
That's
Not as a
powerful, man.
right. Not as a
Golly.
6 year
Gotta,
old. I don't
whew.
need that.
Right.
So yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
So I
sharing
think that
that. That
absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
now, and you know what? One of my biggest benefits, and I didn't notice that until being an adult, is thankfully I grew up with both of my parents. And me being from Detroit, that was that was not normal. Like
Yeah.
people thought we
Yeah.
were rich in the hood. Like and now that with me being in finance, I know so much, and I'm just like, man, my parents really didn't let us see a lot. So I am so thankful for that. But what you just said, and it's funny, I was gonna ask you like, what's the difference between masculine and feminine? I'm glad you broke it down. But let's go back to where you were like a lot of your clients, because I did research. It was this lady I saw on Instagram,
Hmm.
no, YouTube and Instagram, and she had a following talking about narcissistic parents, I think, and then she was talking about the relationship. I don't know how it is with other races and other other cultures or whatever, but for Black women, there's constant. It's not always, but there seems to be a very similar divide between the Black mom and then obviously the Black daughter. And I don't know if you found the research or you seen a typical pattern, but what would you guess is that reason? I don't know if that's a fair question,
I
but
wish
just
I
in your
no, it's such
opinion.
a good it's such a good question. And I wish that we had more conversations about that. And guess what?
Hmm.
We're gonna provide more conversations about that. Is actually I wrote that down because our last session, so many women stood up and was
Hmm.
like, I do too. I do too. It's recurring. It's just
Hmm.
recurring. I chalk it down to a lot, right? Just like what I said about the masculine and feminine energy. Like, mom, I need feminine, but she's giving me masculine. And that could be even in a two parent home, or even in a single parent home, just depending on what the dynamic looks like. Another thing is back in the day was just a jealousy thing, right? It's just a jealousy thing of your daughter, and not consciously. Some was real conscious and blatant, but some
Mm.
things were just subconscious, or even back from like my grandmother's era, right? My grandmother is 93, so back in her
Mm-hmm.
era, right, there was always jealousy around the family dynamic, right? And I don't know if y'all heard of, I mean, I don't know if you've read, or your audience has read, As I Am by Cicely Tyson. That kind of opened up my eyes as well,
Mm.
to some of the things that, because her mom and daughter dynamic was absolutely mimicking of so many of my clients and myself. It was just, the mom just really wanted the best for them, or they wanted to coddle them because they were a girl, and while they felt like that was that a nurturing love, it was a total opposite. So it was always a tiff, it was never a partnership, essentially. So it could just be a jealousy, not even just a jealousy, like, oh, she's living the life that I want to live, or or whatever. It's kind of like the same thing as um when friends, get together, and their competitiveness. It's like, we don't have to compete, right? And I honestly bring that back, and I don't want to, bring it back to this, but it's just back to the slavery days, right? It's always a
I think that's
competition.
fair though. You can
Yeah,
go back to those
yeah.
days.
Yeah, like it's always a competition. It's always something. It's light skin versus dark skin. It's short versus tall. It's oh, this she's creative in arts, and she's creative in numbers. It's just always a competition that they try to have between women. And I think the main form of that is because us together, when we're working together, can you say unstoppable? Can you say unbeatable? Limitless? Like glass ceilings, no more. So they have to divide us in some way. Because if you think about it, if your mother and daughter are working in tandem,
Mm.
there's nothing that generation can't do. But when you break it up, it's a whole stripe, and it's a whole disconnect from another generation. If the mom argue with a daughter be gonna be like, you ain't treating my kids like that, and move across town, right? Move across the United States, and
I
then
live here. Yep. My
right,
family's in Michigan.
because grandma ain't gonna come here saying that crazy about my kids how she did me. So it's just for trying to have that divide, and really to solve that is having those hard conversations.
Hmm.
Sitting down and be like, yo, mom, I don't even care what happened in the past. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be hard. Like how you said, our
Yeah.
parents are what? Stuck in their ways. Okay, stuck in
Yes.
mud. They are stuck in their mud. But I
Best way to
think that
say
they
it.
want to be progressive, right? I think they want to be progressive. And I think that these last couple of years, we've had to lose so much. So
Hmm.
I think just in that, just having to lose so much, having to change so much, having to adapt our holidays and things of that nature, so many people want that to be healed. They want that relationship to be healed. They just don't know how.
Mm. Wow. And it's crazy because you mentioned the masculinity and femininity, and then you do feel, and then there's a competition between the mom and the daughter. But I don't know if I felt a competition. Like me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on deep diving within myself, and I'm a fan of therapy. I go to my therapist or whatever, and then I look
Yes.
within, and I'm part like of me understanding throughout the years was, first off, I grew up with five brothers. One passed away
Mm-hmm.
9 years ago, but I grew up with five
Sorry.
brothers. So I had no sister, no big sister. Like my mom was only my feminine expression. So when you grow up
Mm-hmm.
with five brothers, you want to be like the boys. You want to be better than the boys. That's why I
Yep.
picked up basketball at a young age because I could beat the boys. And then I always wondered if our disconnect was her fear of my sexual identity. Like,
Mm.
is my daughter gonna turn out this way? I remember when I was 16, that was my first serious boyfriend. I was so in love, girl. And it's funny because all it took was, because he was older. He was like 19. I don't. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
technically legal. We didn't do anything, but he was 19.
Good.
He was a
Good.
construction worker, and this dude would drive an hour away to come see me, and I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
wow.
I'm in love." He was cute, girl. He was so cute. But anyways, I remember my parents at nighttime. It was our bedtime, and I remember hearing them argue because my dad was like, "Oh, she don't need to have no boyfriend," and my mom was like, "She can have a boyfriend," and they always thought it was so cute when my
Mm-hmm.
brother had a girlfriend or whatever. Like my dad would always praise it, but when it came to me, I couldn't have anything. Granted, I had the better grades and I was always active in school or whatever. But my parents, more the story, they were harder on me. So
Mm-hmm.
just me deep diving back into that masculine and feminine energy, I always felt that that's what my mom was trying to protect. I feel like my basketball career could have went so many different levels if my mom let me play more. But because she probably didn't want me around, certain females, and different things like that. That's probably where um some of the divide came. Jokes on her. Jokes on her. Now I'm an adult, and what she fought
Now what?
against is kind of,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
trying to figure out what I want my audience to know about me.
Right. Right.
Moral of the story is I love people. Um,
Yeah.
I love people, and that's really what it comes down to. And she has her happy moments about that. She has, her non-happy moments about that. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I'm single, not married. So, we'll see what happens when that time comes. But
Yeah.
that's what I felt like if I'm really deeping down, going back to it. And I felt like I've explored options because of the lack of nurturing. And I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
why do I explore those options? It's because I wanted to be nurtured. Is that really what?
Mm-hmm.
Is that really what who I am? I don't know because I was lacking that from where? From my mom. Talk to my grandmother, and I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense why my mom is the way she is now. So it's just a level of understanding as I continue to grow. So I wanted to point out this. Trying to change course a little bit. I own this book. It's called Soulmate.
Okay.
Soulmate. Soulmate.
Okay.
Okay. So going back into the masculine and feminine energy, because you say you run into a lot of women that want to be married, or generationally they're telling us that we should have husbands, we shouldn't embrace this, like, it's, put it like this, you already know there's a lot of relationship gurus out here, and they're saying women are more masculine nowadays, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, first off, y'all need to stop saying this because you're creating a divide. Every time you speak out, you're creating a divide and you're putting us all into this box. If anything, if you have an issue with it, you should be trying to find ways to bring us together. Because just like you may feel a certain way because of your broken experience with a woman, you should be looking at these same men that's treating the women a certain way to have these,
Yeah.
these different responses. So,
Exactly.
what is your thoughts on women having, or I should say, men weaponizing marriage? Like,
Mm.
if you don't have a marriage, and then women having this level of what's the word I'm looking for, worth, because you have to get married or you're not married. Does that question
Okay.
make sense? So men
Yes.
weaponizing marriage, and then women like, I have to be married in order to have some level of worth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before I answer that, can we please go back to what what you were saying? I know you wanted to pivot. I know you want to pivot, but I just want to share
No,
this
that's
with you. I
fine.
really do. I grew up like you. I grew up with two older brothers. So me
Mhm.
playing basketball, that was a whole thing. That was, that was me tapping into that. And I think that sometimes when they have the boys, they know how to be moms to boys, right? They know how to
Mhm.
nurture a boy, but sometimes it just seems like a disconnect to nurture a girl. And that's what I think that
Mhm.
maybe came from, or even in your lifestyle. Like most of the time, what our moms always try to keep us away from, we do it anyway. Okay, because we have to experience it. So now
Yeah.
we gonna outdo it. Now we gonna
Yeah.
out move it. We gonna out jig it. And now it's
How
gonna be
jiggy.
like, I don't, right. We just not gonna be. There's not gonna be any parameters for us because you didn't allow me to experience it in a safe environment. Now I have to do it on my own. So yeah, I do want to say that. I do want to say that, but I'll go ahead and
Nah,
pivot.
that's
I'll
fair.
go ahead.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just wanted to like, because that's how it was for me. I always had to like, okay, how can I be better than the boys just to be seen? So
Mhm.
once again, it's just one of those things, and they're gonna coddle me. Let me, boys, they could date, they could stay out late. But when it comes to me, I gotta be in at 9 o'clock. What? This is crazy. Now I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna go to college and ball out. Like,
Yeah.
like, no, exactly. You gotta nurture as well as just right, and have them as a person. Like it's just right. It's just you can teach them. You can you
That's
can
so
have them the
funny.
same. You
Because
can
it's
use them
so
the
true
same.
for
It's so
women when they go to
true.
college. Now, mine wasn't college. I think mine was the military, and then moving to
Okay,
Atlanta.
yeah.
Military, then Atlanta, and then I was like, okay, Atlanta got this little high rate up there. Let me cool it out.
Right, right. And it's just like, well, if I would have exercised that in a safe space with my mom to where she can be my confidant, then it would have been totally different,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Or, how boys can go to their dad and be like, yeah, I did it. And then we can go and be like, oh my God, she did it flowered. Like, no, you can't go the same way. You can't say, no, you can't do the same. You can't do the same thing. Because
But you
your
know
dad,
what?
your
I didn't get to talk though. Did you get to talk?
I didn't. I got a book. I think I still have it while I'm
I
calling
didn't
you. I
even
got a
get
book.
that,
I got a book.
girl. I didn't even
And
get
I'm
that.
so sorry. And that's another thing we talk about. It's from the divide. We are not prepared. Like they don't. Our moms, they did the best that they can. I just want to say that. I just really want
Mhm.
to say that they did the
Yeah.
best they can. But they did not equip us
Yes.
with the best things. I know for me and my friends, we learned what a period was from each other. Right,
Mhm.
or how to handle it from each other, and then I read a book on it,
Mhm.
right, or even the talk about sex. It was just like you don't be going out here having sex, okay? It wasn't, and that's kind of what happened in Cicely Tyson's book. Her mom, she was, I think, 16, 17. She never talked to her about the talk. She never talked to her about a cycle. She never talked about that, what, like, the talk messed up the cycle that made a baby. Like, it didn't, none of that translated. And it's just like, just equip me better. Just equip
Yeah.
me with the things that I need, and then that will save me, essentially. And I don't think that they did that. So then sometimes we hold a grudge for them. Like you didn't equip me. I wish you was a better mom. And I had to sit down and be like, well, what do I thank my mom for? My creativity, my beauty, my resilience, and things of that nature. Sorry, y'all. We went back. We went back. But I'll answer your question. You said the idea of men weaponizing marriage and women finding their worth in marriage. Oh, you mean as a in today's society,
Yeah.
essentially?
Yeah. In today's society, because it's kind of being a reoccurring theme now with just the division between the two and women. That's why I brought up the book Soulmate, because women feel like they're not worth anything if they don't have a husband, or they're being weaponized to believe that way. And I do think that there are some women that's growing their independence to where they're just like, I'm okay being single, for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not going to deal with XYZ. And I know you're dealing with different people, but I guess I just wanted a different opinion on just the
Yeah.
weaponization, and then your belief on marriage, women
Yeah.
in marriage.
Honestly, with the women in marriage, I really feel like for me, it is definitely this thing that is a cross between, okay, being a submissive woman definitely gives you power. I feel like submission definitely gives you power. Being married gives you power. It also strengthens a union between, you having a partner to always support you. Marriage is definitely, for me, an important thing, and it is an important structure if two people use it right. I
Hmm.
think that a lot of people want the wedding and don't understand what a marriage looks like. They don't know what forever looks like. They don't really know what the vows look like. They don't know what living day by day to day, or compromising on a day to day, or changing from being a masculine and being a feminine, or changing from being the lion and the lamb, or changing from, oh, I'm just going to not say anything today because, it's just not the right place, or effectively communicating, or even how hard marriage is because literally we change who we are, or even change our likes and dislikes in a span of 10 years. So if you're trying to be
Hmm.
with me forever, you might get 7 versions of me, essentially. And that long haul, a lot of people don't understand. So if they understood that, I don't think that they would be weaponizing nor
Yeah.
finding their worth in marriage. Um, you can't find your worth in marriage, right? Or you just like you can't find your worth in having a baby with someone. That
Hmm.
comes first. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, if you bring 50, I bring 50." No, man, we just got to be whole. We got to be whole beings when we come in here. I got to bring 100%. You got to be 100%, because when I am at 80, I need you to go
Hmm.
120%. I need you to cover me. I need you to make sure that I'm good. And I think if we understood that the worth is gone. My worth is good before I get married. And I think if we learned how to be the best version of ourselves, our
Mm-hmm.
favorite version of ourselves, then it can be so much better. But people are looking for marriage to make them better, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm just gonna say people are looking for marriage to make them better. And as far as men weaponizing marriage, I just think that that is just obviously disgusting. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
feminist, definitely a feminist out here. But it's just having that control, right? It's just having that control. Men are taught to have control. Women are taught from a young age. Here's a baby doll. Here's a kitchen as a
Yeah.
play set. Easy bake oven,
Yep.
right? Right. You giving nuptials to your dolls. Like it's always that's what we're striving for before we even know how to sign a check. Before we even know, how to do a wifely duties. We're pushed into this, and men they just outside playing with GI Joes,
Yeah,
cars,
you
cars
saying the
playing
same
kitty.
thing I always say. Yes, agreed.
Like, what are we like? And I think that that's the society structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that they want to rear us to these things, but that's also back in the day, okay? That is played out, okay? Because nowadays we have marriage roles that ebbs and flows, okay? Right, the it's not, oh, this masculine man do all of those things. I have a friend of mine who is the provider in her relationship. Her man is a stay at home dad, and their dynamic works so beautifully.
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I also have a friend who makes more than her man, and he is so bent on his ego that he's just like, I can't be with you because you make more money than me. What type of, once again, this competition, and that's where you find men that womenizing women, is because if you're not subordinate, if you're not making less money than me, if you are not going to look pretty on my arm, then I'm going to go out and find somebody that else can do these things. And you
Mm-hmm.
really have to just be like, then you don't want the marriage. Don't
Yeah.
want the marriage, right? Fix that. Fix your emotions around, fix the mindset around marriage, and then a lot more people will be getting married. But we're looking at
Exactly.
this. We're looking at the stats. We're looking at our friends' failed marriages. Well, they just not doing it right.
Yeah.
They just not doing it right.
Yeah. And I think the ones that, in my opinion, I always say the ones that's weaponizing it, it's usually their ego bruised,
Absolutely.
but then also they're complacent because, and my opinion, a man in that situation, if he feels some kind of way about his woman making more money, instead of him trying to make more money to make himself feel better, instead he's using his pain against her. So
Absolutely.
that's what I typically see going out. So let's go back to the blogging. How long ago did you start blogging?
Ooh, 6 years ago. It
Six
was
years
six
ago.
short years. I feel like looking back on it, it's like 6 years. It was just, yeah.
Yeah,
It
six
was six
years.
years.
That's awesome.
Um, I cut my hair all the way off.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. I love that hairstyle. But yeah, I was buzz cut, cuts in the side. It was perfect. But that's when I started blogging, and it was literally things about like uplifting women, how to stop missing opportunities that's in front of you, how to be more confident. It was all sorts of things of that nature. It was great. It was fun though.
Okay, so in that 6 years, you obviously morphed into an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, and you have your own book. You're also doing speaking events, and then you do have your coaching platform. So, what are some, I guess, some lows that you experienced along the journey as an entrepreneur? What are some experiences that you've learned, and then explain to us now what is the exact business that you've grown to this day.
Absolutely. Oh man. 6 years ago, I had a job. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
had a job and I was blogging. So the money coming in, it's like super stable or super consistent. Man, that just warmed my heartstrings. Yeah, it just warmed my little heartstrings. Um, but then when I decided, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this full time. I'm gonna get into business full time. That's when I like, if I didn't kill it, I didn't eat it. Okay, so that is stress in itself. Not to know where your next like it's where your next money is coming from, that is just a stress in itself. But I read a lot of books that was like, okay, that's how you build resilience. I was like, okay, I'm about to build resilience. And it wasn't cute. Okay, I'm just gonna let you know it wasn't cute. Oodles and noodles, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That you really had to like check your priorities. I had to learn how to do my nails at home. I learned how to do my own hair. Like it was just, I cut all the costs. I was like, okay, if I'm about to go into here, I'm not gonna waste a dime. I'm not going to just either I'm going to invest it in me or invest it back into my business or pay my bills, of course, because they still coming. um, so that's definitely one thing. Another thing is just the amount of no's that you're going to get, the amount of, no matter how worthy you are, no matter how creative you are, no matter if you got the next, next, I don't know, wheel or fire or next greatest invention, people are going to tell you no, right? For whatever reason, for whatever reason. And not getting knocked off your horse or not getting knocked off your journey during that time, it's probably one of the most stressful things to do as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like the imposter syndrome comes in. Now we talked about imposter syndrome earlier, but imposter syndrome is that little voice in the back of your head saying, "You can't do this. You failed before. Who do you think you are?" And then this can also turn into your mama saying it, right? Your best friend saying it. Your daddy saying, "Well, why? Who? No, you can't read. You can't read better than I do. You can't make more money than I do. Your spouse doing it. Your kids doing it." So having to fight off of all of those things while still trying to bring in money, while still trying to look happy for social media, while still trying to get your right, get your self-care in and your affirmations in, balancing all of those things at once is not for the weak. Okay, it's not for the weak, right? I still got to go out and network. I still got to go out and do this. I still got to go get my oil change. Like, it's just all these different things that I have to do. And it just seems in the beginning that there's no support.
Yeah.
You can be really feel at your lowest of low during that time. But I will say that one, it doesn't last always. Two, you got to go through some shit. Oh, can I curse? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can do whatever.
Okay. You gotta go through something. You gotta go through something. And I know I don't want to be cliche and be like, oh, everybody's greatest story. You had to go through something. But it's the truth. Because if you are not going through something or growing through something, how do I know once you make it, you're not gonna pilfer it? How do I know you're not gonna fumble it? Right? We won't put rookies in the Super Bowl game because how do we know he's gonna handle the pressure? You have to be put through something. You have to have a test to get the testimony, okay? You have to have pressure to make diamonds, pressure to make wine, pressure to make olive oil. All the good things come out of pressure. And if you are able to sustain yourself, calm yourself down, be the peace of yourself, you're not going to make it. And I'm going to say entrepreneurship is not for everybody. College ain't for everybody. Mohawks ain't for everybody. Just ponytails aren't for everybody. It's just things that's just not for everybody. And entrepreneurship is just one of those things. And when we get to a place of I'm about to give up, because I definitely came to that place. I think year 4, I was like, I may not be good. This may not be my path. This might not be it. And I'm okay with that. I go give me a 9 to 5, and which really is me working 9 to 3, and I'm dilly dally the other 2 hours. But what does that mean for my dream? What does that mean for my purpose? What does that mean for who I am? And that brings me to my third point, like knowing your purpose, knowing your why. Knowing why you started, knowing why you're doing this for future generations, all of that is what you rest on during those times of low, just being low, okay? Those valleys, okay? That's what brings you out of this. No, like I can wake up tomorrow and do this again. I could be smacked down and do it again. Okay, another no, cool. I'm closer to my yes. That sort of thing. And gratitude. I had no idea how much gratitude was going to be a lifesaver.
Mm.
Gratitude, man, waking up and just thanking God for the small things. Being thankful for every single order. Okay, celebrating every single um, book speaking engagement. And yeah, all of those things. Oh, and journaling. My goodness. Journaling and being organized is another thing that I had to learn, because usually it
Yeah.
was just, oh yeah, all my thoughts and ideas are in my head. They ain't gonna do no good in your head, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out, right? Get it out of your head. Write it down. Write an action plan. Because if you don't, if you're not sure where you are and where you're going to be, you can't create an action plan. You ain't gonna know what you're doing every single day. You're not gonna know what you're doing every single hour. You're not gonna know the tasks that you need to be focused on. You're gonna have a different business, and you're gonna be working. You're gonna be trying to do 7 different businesses all at once. While that's good, once you've made that first business hit numbers, right? Then you can duplicate it. Not we trying to make all these streams of income work at the same time. That sort of thing.
And you know what's crazy is I'm learning that there's levels to organization, and I think that one of just hearing you talk, my experience and just a lot of experiences with multiple entrepreneurs is that organization is one of the biggest aspects of entrepreneurship, but a lot of times you don't really learn that until you go through the process. On top of organization, and the key word I just said is process, you have to go through experiences to really understand what a process is. Because if you have a job, reason why people are comfortable with going into a job that's typically non-sales, but even if it's a sales job, they're a lot more comfortable because they do understand that they're going to receive a check, but they also understand that there's a process that's given to them, that they follow the process, and if they follow the process and keep doing it, even at the bare minimum, they will keep that job for the most part unless they get laid off, and then be good. But it takes most entrepreneurs to understand what that process should be. That's why people do spend money on coaching, and then the coaches give them a process. And in some industries, it may be a lot more harder to find the coach that's going to give you the process. But I also want to kind of add this to the audience because you mentioned year 4, you was like, I want to quit, give up, and go back to getting the 9 to 5. And one of my mentors, he's like, it's nothing wrong with going back. The
Yeah.
problem is don't go back and forget. You can go
There
back
we
to a
go.
9 to 5, but you got to be able to figure out. Yes, you get this money coming in, but learn how to work your business on the side. So, sound like you went in kind of like Kobe because everybody comes out with different experience. Their
Yeah.
job, school, different experience where they can come out, learn entrepreneurship, and never have to go back because you're gonna experience no's, but you got to also understand what level of sacrifice are you willing to give, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So So with
I'm so
with your
happy that you
business,
said. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I love that you said that you can always go back. Because
Hmm.
I want you to understand that at year 4, I was like, "What you gonna do, Z?" And I made a pact with myself that I'll never give up. But going back, there's no shame in going back either,
Yeah.
right? Cha cha, you still go back during the cha cha as well. It's still cool, but you just like how you said, don't forget. A lot like a 9 to 5 is literally you just investing in your dream, right? I'm
Hmm.
giving 9 to 5. I'm getting 8 hours to my dream. I'm making sure that I'm stable. I'm making sure my bills are stable. Like I said, as an entrepreneur and your bills ain't stable, it gets real stressful.
Hmm.
So when you have that, it's a transporter to your dreams. It's not a oh man, I gave up on my dreams. I feel so bad. I feel like a fraud type deal. No, it's you actually getting that money, getting that capital to where you can invest back in your business, and create a virtual assistant for the things that you don't want to do. Create a
Yes.
graphic designer buy a graphic designer that or hire a graphic designer, for the things that you don't want to do. That's when you'll have more money as opposed to just rocking it out on your own. And I know for me, a lot of my business women, we want to be independent. We don't want to delegate because they don't do it the way we do it. Or, I tried to hire 3 virtual assistants and they
Oh
didn't do
man,
well. Right.
I'm
We've
going
all
through that now with my virtual assistant. Like,
right.
dude, come on.
Help me help you. Right. But literally, all of these different things, you're not going to get it right on the first time. Nothing in business you're going to get it right on the first time. Stopping and having a self day for yourself is so perfect, right? Stopping and going back to a job that you not necessarily love, but it's fueling your business is okay. And I think that a lot of people lose sight. It's like your goals are still going to stay the same. Your methods may change. Okay, it's just changing your methods a little. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And tell us about the 5 day challenge.
Absolutely. So the 5 day confidence challenge. So I have the 5 day confidence challenge. It is on my website, which is ZipporahMonique.com. It really just takes you through 5 different days on how to build your confidence. It's self-awareness in there, it's forgiveness, it's boundaries. It's actually a smaller snippet to my book, Reclaim Your Reign, which is an emotional intelligence guide for women of color. It's just a smaller snippet of that is because essentially our confidence get lost when we lose our voice, right? And we lose our voice for various reasons. It could be trauma. It could be, how we talked earlier, the mother and daughter dynamic. It could even be the black woman, or not even black women, but women man dynamic situation. But making sure that we find our voice, making sure that we find our purpose, making sure that we find our passion and our worth within ourselves before we try to give it out to the world. So a lot of my clients, man, like they really have these amazing ideas to where I'm like, girl, the world needs to hear you. The world, you need to speak. Please speak up, because if you're not going to speak up, nobody is going to come along with those same ideas, that same creative side, that same approach that you do. But you looking at somebody else's paper thinking that you should be further along. I need you to sit in yourself, get confidence in yourself, so then you can rock this out the park. And that's kind of how the conversation kind of goes in the emails in the 5 day challenge, is because I just really want to give y'all to give my clients, or even potential clients, just a view of what can happen in 5 days, right? With following me for 5 days, what can happen? Imagine following me for 5 months, 5 years, right? Or even so, choosing yourself over those 5 day period where you're devoting yourself, because there's activities in these 5 days. Okay, it ain't just we sitting around doing nothing, right? So there's activities in these 5 days, but there's activities in these 5 days. But then, what about you entering this path with yourself for 5 days, 5 months, 5 years? You'll be unrecognizable. So I'm really just helping people find their light. That's all.
Okay. And can you say like the name of your book, and do you do like any consulting? What's more? Is there anything more past the 5 days that women can look out for?
Absolutely. Oh, we got a lot of things. So the name of my book is, actually I have two books, y'all. Well, one book, the first book is actually called Crowned: Unleashing the Queen Within, and that kind of goes through my domestic violence story, how I got away with it, how I grew up as a low self-esteem person, and kind of my journey through that to kind of help women out. It's like 10 chapters packed full of things. But my next one is the Reclaim Your Reign, which is a emotional intelligence guide to women of color. And that is just a bigger size of the 5 day challenge. So we're in there, we talk about self-awareness and self-honesty. We talk about how to forgive yourself and how to forgive others for the things that's happened in your past. We talk about boundaries, how to set them, how to enforce them. We talk about your shadow work. We talk a lot about shadow work. And that's really just your darker self that you want to just hide in the back and don't want nobody to hear about. But we have to totally embrace ourselves. We have to embrace both our light and our dark. And also, like, just to own your story. So many people don't own their story. They hide behind their story. They're like, oh, well, what if somebody find out? Well, I'm going to tell everybody my story, because it's not going to be a whole find out thing. Just like Eminem and 8 Mile, to where
Wow.
at the end, right, he was like, you can't tell me nothing else. You can't tell them nothing else about me, because I already told them, right? And that's how that's kind of how you get your confidence. Like, nobody can tell you about me. Or they might can tell you about the old me, but they can't touch the new me.
I
So you can get
love
both
it.
those books on Amazon by searching Zipporah Monique. But outside of the 5 day challenge, I do coaching. We're gearing up to start a podcast. The number of women who I who I talk to about these different things, because I usually only do like really, I like energy, I like connection, and that's why the pandemic was a little harsh for you, girl. But I couldn't connect with people here. Like we can connect here, and this is great, and this is good. But actually being in front of people and feeling their energy, I like the
Yeah.
one-on-one, the close one-on-one sessions. So I do have one-on-one sessions. We're planning a retreat for next for later in the year to get 40 to 60 women out. So we're doing a lot of different things just to heal some of my business women. Okay, we just gotta heal, right? We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot in common. And I just want to bring everybody together and just let's heal. Let's move side. Let's get some meditation and good food in you, and just, you know, some good
I
knowledge.
love it.
Yes, yes. And you can find me as a Poor Monique everywhere. Um, if you
Okay.
need any of
And
that information.
I'll have that on a video as well.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Thank you so much.
well, let me ask this last question. What, since this is geared towards obviously millennials and finding their financial exit strategy, what it seemed like you did is you built a business from your pain.
Yeah.
You know, you build a successful business. So what advice would you give that person who's listening that may be following each and every one of these episodes, trying to figure out exactly what they want to do in life, or maybe they already have something that they're very good at and turning that into a business?
Absolutely. I am so glad you asked this question, is because I needed this question answered. When I first started blogging and YouTube, I had no idea where I was going. I was just like,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna talk to this camera. If they like it, they like it. I think some of my videos got like 2 views. I'm still fine with that because it was giving knowledge. And but what I would definitely say is think about the things that just bring you joy, right? That just it's just that you're naturally good at, right? I'm naturally good at telling people what to do. That's
Mhm.
why I feel like I became a speaker. I'm so good at telling people what to do. So just figure out what you're good at, right? Some people are good at art, right? Never had been taught art, or some people is good to listen to music and pick up a sound, or they're good at talking to or speaking to animals or nurturing animals, or whatever the case may be. I think what's really great about the times that we live in now is that you literally can recreate anything. You can create anything, create any job, you can create any avenue. You can literally customize your job title, and the world is literally limitless for you. You can work from anywhere now, so there's a ton of different things that you can do if you are super good at organizing. Just as like Danny said, so many entrepreneurs need organization. So
Yes.
be an organizer for entrepreneurs, or even build a whole business, right, that has organizers for entrepreneurs. Just like things like Uber or Airbnb, right? Uber is the largest transportation company, does not own a car, right? Airbnb is the largest housing and doesn't own a property. That's kind of how you have to leverage like your skills and things like that. Think outside the box, right? Um, or another thing one of my mentors say, what do people need? What do people need? Or what is that thing that you encounter and be like, man, this really makes me mad, or like, I don't understand why you can't become the solution, right? If you are the solution to somebody's problem, of course people gonna hand over money. When people gonna hand over money hand and foot for you, right? They're gonna see the value that you're giving. Um, or something as simple as plus size clothing, right? A
Yeah.
lot of women need plus size clothing, and it's a niche market, right? It's
Yeah.
or have you seen the shoes for dogs? Right? Like it's just
No, I
you can
haven't seen it. Now I want to look them up.
there are shoes for dogs, like when they go out into the rain. There's rain boots for
Oh
dogs.
yeah.
Right. Or even for me, go watch an episode of Shark Tank, right? Go watch an episode of Earn Your Leisure. Go watch, Danny's episodes. Go watch just different things on YouTube. You'll kind of things will pique your interest. And while things are piquing your interest, I do want to also, I know I'm talking a lot, y'all, but like I do also want to help you to understand that exposure. I want exposure. Danny said this earlier. If you experience something and you don't like it, you can easily put it away, right? That's what I did. I was on the way to dental school. My brother's a dentist. He's actually in orthodontist school in Cleveland right now. But I was going to become a dentist, and I had anxiety around getting into the program. And I was like, where's this anxiety coming from? I know this isn't my dream, but I know I'm going to make the money. And I just literally had anxiety that I could not stop. And I was like, I can't do this. And I stopped the pursuit of going to dental school. And I felt so much better. I felt so much better. And that's when I started blogging. I was just like, I'm just going to do anything. Okay, I'm free now. Right? I'm going to do this whole pivot. So exposing yourself to different things. Like, oh man, I really love to do art. Let me go expose myself and try to sell my art. Well, I love doing art, but I just don't like when people pay me for it. I just like for that to be a hobby for myself. That's fine as well, right? How else can you do things? Okay, I still really like to do art, but what else can I do? Oh, I can hold an art exhibit for somebody. I can start doing event planning and so on and so forth. So you see how that pivots? I want to make sure y'all understand that just because it's a natural infinity, just because it makes you angry about it, you don't always have to be the front person. You can also create the resources for people.
Ooh.
That was a lot.
that was power. That was definitely power. And I'm so appreciative for you coming on today. Like, you caused me to be vulnerable in ways that I don't even like showing, because I'm so like, weird on getting judged. I may share with people in person, but I'm glad that I have this podcast, because it's allowing me to be vulnerable, but it's also, I want people to be able to know that being vulnerable is okay. That is part of your story. And if you can identify with that vulnerability, then that's already you gaining your power in itself. So I appreciate you, Zipporah Monique, for coming by today on the Millennial Network Podcast. You have anything else last you want to say for the audience?
I just want to say, man, this has been a great conversation. I'm honored to be on this podcast with you, and thank you for your vulnerability. Literally, like you said, vulnerability, and like it envelops to like really real connections, real stories, real conversations, and that's what people need. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. All right, y'all. So this is the Millennial Network, where your net worth is, wait, hold on, I messed it up. Where your network is your network. There we go. Yeah, thank you again. This is Coach Danny Renee. This is the Millennial Network, where your network is your network. And we are out of here. Peace.